What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the video. I worked really hard on that thumbnail. Today we're going to be talking about the Switch lineup. Now, I know it looks a little weak. I am guilty of it myself. I was extremely disappointed when I saw that we were only going to get 5 launch games, but I started analyzing sort of Nintendo's past trends, and I started thinking about what exactly their strategies were in the past, and I kind of had this epiphany that maybe they're onto something and maybe they have a few cards up their sleeve. Today we're going to be looking at the Nintendo Switch launch lineup, and we're going to be comparing it to some of Nintendo's past launches as well. So jumping right away into the Wii U, we can see that the Wii U launched with 32 games. Now on this list you can see that it's basically riddled with shovelware. So I don't know how many of you actually went out and bought a Wii U, not very many of you apparently, but I'd love to know how many of these games, or which of these games, you picked up. Now I know some of the more popular ones were like ZombiU or Super Mario World U. I'm really interested in knowing how the third parties did with Mass Effect 3 and Batman Arkham. A lot of those games came out on previous consoles like the Xbox 360 and the PS3 like years before, so I'm wondering how well those exactly performed. Now, we all know the story of the Wii U. It didn't do very well. I mean, the console sold 13 million units to date, I think, on top of having very weak, I'm talking about almost no third-party support. So the console essentially failed. But taking a look back at Nintendo's previous launch lineups and comparing it to the Switch, I kind of feel like I'm getting an idea as to what they're thinking, what their mentality is, and to be honest, I kind of like it. So let's go look at the N64 launch. Now the N64 launched with a whopping 2 games. 2 games! Pilotwings and Mario 64. If you were back around then, like I was, with an N64, you'll remember playing Mario 64. I mean, it was a life-changing experience. That was Mario in a 3D space for the first time. I mean, there was nothing like it at the time. And I actually had Pilotwings too. I don't know what compelled, probably the fact that it was the only other game available on the system. Those 2 games, they performed very, very well, which enticed third parties to start developing for the system itself, which really pertained a lot of its efforts to its success. So the console performed well, maybe, possibly, due to the fact that we didn't have 32 games to pick from at launch. Let's keep moving back. Let's go back all the way to the SNES launch. Now this is a little bit more like it. 5 games. Look familiar? Yeah, that's because we're getting 5 games with the Switch. The standout title, of course, Super Mario World for the SNES. Still, probably, arguably, one of the best games ever created. So you might be thinking, alright Philip, I hear what you're saying, but what about the Wii? Now, the Wii was incredibly successful, and you're right, the Wii was incredibly successful. But, despite the fact that the Wii did have a ton of shovelware, it brought something really new and interesting to the table. It brought motion controls. Motion controls were new at the time, people were amazed by it, and people bought into it. But, if you're like me, you bought a Wii, and you bought Zelda, and maybe you bought another game, and then you realized that there's nothing really there for you anymore, and so you went back to playing your PlayStation or your Xbox. Now, Nintendo doesn't want to make the same mistake that they made with the Wii or the Wii U. They want to be prepared, and I feel like they are this time. Now, they're doing the best of pretty much all of their previous strategies. They're minimizing the launch lineup to ensure that the games are going to sell, to entice third parties to then create more games in the future. The games that we do want to play, the games that we're playing on Xbox, PlayStation, and maybe some new IPs as well that are made specifically for the Switch. So anyways guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for checking it out. If you liked it, please remember to subscribe, share it with your friends, make it known I exist, tell the world if they want some Switch news. I'm here. See you tomorrow!